Okay, Facebook, YouTube. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. It has been a morning of technical difficulties. So let me know as you are hopping on if you can hear me okay. Um, Hopefully, I don't see anybody posting comments yet. So even if my team is there, if you guys can put a comment in there that I know you all are listening to me? Here we go. Yay! Somebody did it. Thank you, Andrea RC, Karen Williams. Thank you. You guys. Oh, here comes everybody. Okay. Amazing. Thank you. Appreciate that, you guys. Yeah, crazy time going live with you guys today. I don't know if it's just been a while since I've done it, but here I am. Here's what I want to do today. The reason I come live to you guys on Fast Training Week is I really want to be able to thoroughly answer your questions around the fast that you are experimenting with this week. And so if you're new to my channels, I just want to point out that what we do is we try to put a post out a couple days ahead of time. And if you have questions about Fast Training Week, then you just jump in and you ask those questions ahead of time. So, and then my team gathers the questions and I bring them to you guys. If you have questions while I'm going through this, go ahead and put your question in. Like right now, I can see YouTube and Facebook. I can see your guys' questions as you're putting them in, which is awesome. And I will try to get to as many as I possibly can. And as always, I hope this information over the next 30 minutes as I'm here with you is really beneficial for you in your fasting journey. So let's start with this. This Fast Training Week, we chose the 20 hours. And it asked me, why did I choose 20 hours as my go-to fast for freeing the fat, is what I call it. And I'll explain why I call it that here in a moment. But what I want to emphasize is that fast training weeks are really about stretching you. And what I am seeing in the fasting world right now is that people are getting comfortable at their fasting levels. And that's fine. Comfort's fine. It's not like we have to always put ourselves in uncomfortable positions. But what I want you to know about how the body grows stronger is through discomfort. And what's so cool about fasting is that what we know is that the longer you go, there's more healing that kicks in, which is amazing. And it means if you've mastered 13 hours, you've mastered 15 hours, I'm really happy for you. And I want to see how we can get you to get another layer of healing happening by putting a little more discomfort into your fasting journey. So if you're looking for fasting to be comfortable all the time, I think it can, I feel like I can only use myself as far as comfort levels go. I feel like my fasting for me is pretty comfortable. And then 1 to 2 days a week, when I hit that snag where I'm like, ooh, am I going to eat? Am I going to stay the course with fasting? I try to push through another half hour, another hour to see if I can get to that next layer of healing. So with the 20-hour fast, what I have found is that tends to be the moment at which your brilliant body will decide it needs to go find the glucose and the hormones and everything it stored years ago. It's got to go find that somewhere else. And so when blood sugar goes down, what ends up happening is now you will start to see that the body goes after that stored glucose. And it often does not happen at 13 hours. So that's why we've got to do 20 hours. Now, some of you, we're going to do 36 hours this year. And some of you are going to need to go 36 hours to get that same healing effect. So play with it. It's kind of like, the way I look at it is, it's like you're going right to that edge of like, I'm hungry. My mind isn't completely focused. I'm a little uncomfortable. I really want food. Like, you want to dance right to that edge periodically so that the body is forced to go after the stored glucose. So I just really want to point that out because that's what 20 hours is about. Okay. Second thing, I got to pull up my notes here. Is that you guys, hopefully you all know that Element Electrolytes sponsors our Fast Training Week. They give away a free box, 5 free boxes, one to 5 different people. So 1 box for 5 people every day when we do Fast Training Week, which is amazing. And so many of you guys have sent me messages saying that you feel like the added minerals when you're fasting has been really helpful. So hopefully you also know that Element was actually made for fasters. And I have a great episode where I interviewed Rob Wolf on the Resetter podcast, so you can go listen to that. So know that if you want to win a free box of Element, you just need the companion guide. There's instructions on how to do that. So just put companion guide if you don't have one in the notes, and my team will send that to you. And the companion guide is free. Okay, let's dive into it. Enough logistics. Let's get to the meat of this. The first question that I had was around exercising. So the actual question, let me make sure I read it exactly how it was, is should you be exercising daily during this type of fast? Strength, endurance, light. Okay, so let's talk about where exercise and fasting fits in. And I just put out a video on YouTube on this. So if you guys haven't seen this video, I really encourage you to go look at the video, because when I deliver you information, it's super important to me that you understand the concept. And here's why, is that if I just say, yes, you should exercise, no, you shouldn't exercise, then you haven't really learned anything. You're just taking my word for it. And honestly, this is what we do in most of our doctor's offices. We go in, we say, here are my symptoms. The doctor says, oh, well, you have X, Y, and Z. And then you all of a sudden start to, here's what you need to do to fix X, Y, and Z. And you come out with a pill, not really understanding like why X, Y, and Z actually happened. So whenever I answer questions for you guys, and do videos, I want you to understand the why, so you start thinking for yourself. Okay, so on the exercise thing, if it is over 24 hours of fasting, I want to encourage you to ask yourself why you would be exercising. Because after 24 hours of fasting, what you're saying to your body is you're saying, I'm going to take food out of the equation and I'm going to let you do the healing. And I'm not going to mess with anything. I'm not going to bring, this is why I'm not the longer fast. I don't think you should bring supplements into them. I don't think you should bring exercise into them. I think when you hit that 24-hour tipping point, that is the point at which you are honoring this intelligence in your body. And you are saying, hey, you do your job, so that so that you can heal. You know better than me. So when we add too much exercise into it, we mess with that. Now, under 24 hours is a totally different topic. And I actually think exercise is phenomenal when you have been fasting 24 hours or less. So, and let me explain why. Is that when you are in a fasted state, there are 3 areas that your body is going to go find glucose from. It's going to go find glucose from your liver, from your fat, and from your muscles. So, and those 3 are kind of happening simultaneously. So when we, let's say, are 16 hours in a fasted state, that's about enough for your body to go, hey, blood sugar's not going up. So we're going to go ahead and go find the stuff we stored. So it's going to all of a sudden go and burn sugar from your liver and burn sugar from fat. Now it's 16 hours. If you go for a run, if you go and lift weights, all of those, anything that's going to stress a muscle, you are also saying to the muscle, hey, I've got some athletic performance here that I need you to do. So release all of the sugar that you have in your muscles. So at under 24 hours, working out in a fasted state is brilliant. And it is the best way to actually lose weight. And if you want to build a strong muscle, I've said this over and over again, and if you haven't heard it, I cannot emphasize it enough. If you want to build that muscle crazy strong, then be in a fasted state, go and lift weights, like heavy weights, And then when you're done, go break your fast with protein. And the reason that, and at least 30 grams of protein, the reason that is so important is because now you've put your body into multiple states of autophagy where it is cleaning those muscles out, it's dumping all the extra sugar out, and then you're feeding it protein to build itself stronger. Best hack I know in the fasting world is that hack. So that would be my thing on exercise. This fast, you guys can absolutely exercise, and I would encourage you to do heavier weights so that you can actually build more muscle, because muscle is the organ of longevity. I'm a huge believer in that. And I think we all, especially if you're over 40, we all have to be focused on building muscle. Okay. Ooh, this is another good question. Somebody wanted to know about calorie restriction versus fasting. Isn't this version of fasting 20 hours? Isn't that calorie restriction? The answer is it's not. And I really want to point this out, because I know in the, especially women in hormone world, there are a lot of hormone experts that don't believe in fasting because they say it's calorie restriction. That is not what I'm teaching you. I am teaching you compressed eating, time restricted eating. And so if you only have 2 hours, so this is part of why I picked 20 hours. I picked a 4-hour eating window. When you eat. Like I want you to eat. That it's not a time to count calories if you only have a 4-hour eating window. So make sure, and then that you're eating enough food. And then the second part of that is make sure that the food is high quality food. You don't have room for error if you have a 4-hour eating window and you decide you're going to eat chips and cookies, and maybe then have a bowl of pasta for dinner and skip the salad, and that's all in your 4-hour eating window. That there's no nutrition in that. So you've got to make your nutrition matter if you're going to do it in that 4-hour eating window. And again, if you are going to play in this game of fasting, this is not a calorie restriction game. So there's a classic statement in fasting where we say, don't eat less often. It's that simple. So I just want to make sure, if you're still counting calories, that you want to fast, those two things don't go well together, as ironic as that sounds. In fact, those of you, the women out there, my fasting manual is now at the publishers. It's officially at Hay House. Being edited over there. It'll come out in December. And like this, the first chapter is all about these myths of dieting that we have played a part of, myself included. And calorie restriction is the stupidest dieting myth I have ever seen. So we definitely don't want to pair something as brilliant as healing your body with fasting and pair that with calorie restriction. That's not what we're looking for. So can you tell I have a bit of an opinion on that one? Okay. So third question, somebody is underweight and they want to know what the benefits of fasting are if they are underweight, and how to avoid losing too much weight. Okay. This is also a really good question. Is that, again, these longer fasts. So there are 6 fasts. Just so we're all on the same page, there are 6 fasts that I see that work well based off of research, based off of testing on myself, my community, and then rolling this out over hundreds of thousands of people. There are 6 different fasts, and they range in length from 13 to 72 hours. Some of you want to keep going and do the 5-day and 7-day and 21-day water fast. Hats off to you. I think that's great. And you should be coached if you go into those longer places. Now, here's what I really want to point out is that when you go in to those longer fasts, it's going to feel like you've lost weight. And if you're at a weight you've already been at, you don't want to lose any more weight. Yeah, temporarily, the longer fasts are going to give your body the impression you're going to look like you've lost weight. I'm about to go into a 3-day water fast with our Reset Academy. I'm going to be guiding my membership group through a 3-day fast, and we're either going to do it in March or April. So if you want to be guided through one, come join me in my academy. And I will be doing that fast with my academy. And you'll see, I'll document it. You'll see like my cheeks will sink in and I'll look more wrinkled, and it will give the appearance that, oh my gosh, is like fasting, aging her, is fasting making me look like, making me lose too much weight. But then watch what I'll do is that when I break my fast, I'll break it systematically, and then I'll go back into hormone feasting. I'll go back into food. I flip and love food. I'm not opposed to eating good quality food. So, but when you go into longer fasts, it may look like you're dropping too much weight, and it's all temporary. As long as when you reintroduce food, you're really conscious about what you eat. Okay. I guess I have a lot of opinions on that today too. So, okay. The fourth question that we got was, how often should you do a 20-hour fast? And then somebody else, the last question, and then I'll come to the questions I see here on YouTube and Facebook. The last question is, why do we shut down eating 3 hours before bedtime? Okay, so how long should you do a 20-hour fast? Now, here's the way I want to answer this. I want to answer it in context of fasting lengths and varying it and making it specific to you. So this is really important. So when somebody says to me, how long should I do a 20-hour fast? I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know what you're trying to accomplish. So if you are trying to have better mental clarity, if you are trying to drop weight, if you are trying to undo gut damage from years ago from antibiotics or birth control, a 20-hour fast every week is imperative. Like no ifs or buts. I'm a big fan of what I call the 5-1-1, where 5 days a week you're intermittent fasting 15 hours. 1 day a week you elongate your fast, go 20, 24 hours, and 1 day a week, do what you want. Don't fast, eat breakfast, however you want. Great variation. That is an amazing way to mimic what our primal ancestors did. So I love that as a 1 time a week. Now, if you came to me and you said, hey, I've got a really serious autoimmune condition. I'm really stuck with my weight. I'm losing memory very quickly. I have no energy. Those kind of chronic conditions can do really well with what I call a 4-2-1, where 4 days a week you're intermittent fasting, 2 days a week you are extending that past 20 hours, and 1 day a week you do what you want. So know that for more chronic conditions. And then I've just, for the sake of throwing it out there, because I know that I've talked about it before, but I don't know, we've got a lot of new people. There's a third crisis variation that I call 3-3-1, where 3 days a week you're intermittent fasting, 3 days a week you're 20-hour plus fasting, and eating one meal on the second 3 days a week, and then 1 day a week you actually don't eat at all. You're going to go the whole day and into the next day, a 36-hour 1 day a week. And that's really for people with severe conditions, and you should be coached through that as well. Okay, last question, and then I see you guys. I love it. I see you guys here on Facebook and Instagram. This is great. Thank you. I'm seeing your comments. So I want to dive into some of them that are really good. Why shouldn't we eat 3 hours before we go to bed? So I just want to point this out. I've done videos on this. So please go back and watch the videos on YouTube so you have a context for it. But here's what I want you to know, is that when the sun goes down, our eyes sense the day is ending, and melatonin kicks in. And melatonin will kick in so that you start to get sleepy. And when melatonin kicks in, you actually shouldn't be eating. So you're more insulin resistant when the sun goes down. So if you eat a meal at 9 o'clock at night and go to bed immediately following that, you are going to have a different physiological response to that meal at 9 o'clock at night than you did at 5 o'clock. If you eat that same meal at 5 o'clock and then maybe go for a walk afterwards, maybe get some sun to see the sun setting, and then you sit down and wind down for your evening routine, you will not only get a deeper sleep, but you will not store that meal as fat. Whereas when we are seeing that insulin is going up, you're going to store that as fat much quicker. So it's like the greatest weight loss hack is stop eating 3 hours before bed so that your body actually makes insulin and uses insulin and doesn't store insulin and doesn't store glucose as fat. So I love it. It's such a freeing strategy. And then the other thing I'll tell you on that is that if you guys have an Oura Ring or a Whoop, this is really important because it really makes a difference for your how thorough and deep of a sleep you get. If your body has to digest food and sleep at the same time, one of those is going to give. And usually the digestion gives, which gives you gut problems, makes your body store it as more fat. But if you do that continually, now sleep is going to have to give. So this is why it's a non-negotiable. Let's get dinner eating a lot earlier in the day. Okay, I hope that helps. Now I'm going to go look at some of your comments. There was a couple of people. I just want to point out a couple of things around. Somebody said they were feeling dizzy when they went into the longer fast. Let's talk about that for a moment, because that's another really interesting consideration that I want you to have, is that when you go into these longer fasts, there may be a little moment of dizzy. So you have to decide how long you're going to hang in dizzy. So, and in any discomfort, fatigue, hunger, brain fog, just decide before the day goes how long you're going to hang there. So are you going to hang there a half hour, an hour, 15 minutes? But give it a time limit so that you don't go too off into a really bad place. And I'll give you an example of somebody who went into a bad place. So years ago, I had a patient who wanted to go 14 days fasting. And she got in a fasting competition with her cousin. And they were seeing how long they could go. And I told her that was not a great idea. Fasting competitions are not a good idea. So I just want to point that out if you all are competing with each other. And so about day 7, she was super dizzy. Every time she stood up, the room was spinning. I told her, stop fasting, break your fast. It's time to break your fast. Her blood sugar was down to like 50 or 60. She then went to the Resetter Collaborative page, which a lot of you guys are watching me from here, and then asked people there. And thank you, community on the Resetter page, because like thousands of people came in and told her to break her fast, and she still didn't do it because she was in a fasting competition. Long story short, she ended up standing up, passing out, hitting her head on the ground, and then had to deal with issues of a concussion for months after that. That is not how fasting should be. When I say we want you to exercise that muscle and push that muscle, really what I'm saying is go to the edge and then define what that edge, how long you're going to stay at that edge. And it could be 15 minutes. It could be 2 hours. It's really up to you. And this is with dizziness, by the way, this is where the element comes in. The electrolytes can really come in. Okay, I'm reading some of the other ones. Do I have to have a feast day? Woo, this is a good one, because they are hard to do when you eat keto with IF if you're not hungry. Okay, Lisa 512, thank you for asking this. Yes, if you're a cycling woman, all women specifically, you got to have a feast day, and it needs to be focused on feeding progesterone, because progesterone loses with fasting. Estrogen wins with fasting. Progesterone loses with fasting. And as women, we have those two hormones that we've got to really consider. So if you have PCOS, Let's just throw that out there. And you've got estrogen mismanagement and insulin resistance and too much testosterone. Throwing fasting at PCOS is amazing, amazing. And if you have PCOS and you haven't built a fasting lifestyle, I highly encourage that you do it. If you have anxiety, if you are perimenopausal, let's just put it in that category. If you're over 40 and you're perimenopausal, whether you're aware of it or not, your progesterone levels are declining and they're never coming back to what they were at 35 and 25. I'm sorry to tell you. And so you want to feed your progesterone or keep your progesterone foods levels up by feeding them the right foods. And those are not keto foods. So one day a week, you do need to step out, Lisa, or step out. If you're a cycling woman, you got to step out a week before to make sure that you are minding progesterone, because you can't help progesterone is not going to be helped with fasting. Okay, there's my very long answer to that. Okay, let me see if I have any more that make me happy and make me want to talk about it. So let's see. So Chris asked about, I assume it's diverticulitis. That any gut issue can be helped with fasting. I really, seriously, for years in my clinic, I would throw so many supplements, expensive supplements at people, solving candida, SIBO, diverticulitis, parasites. And now I don't go after the microbiome in the same way with supplementation. I always make sure that I throw fasting at it first, especially longer fasts, and then I'll go back if I'm not getting the result and go with supplements. So, yeah. Somebody asked about if I have high estrogen. Where was that? Ooh, it was a good one. I like talking about, Mandy. Okay. So if I have high estrogen, should I not fast? Okay. So let's just be really clear that there are 3 types of estrogen. There's one that's protective and one that's cancer causing, and one that's, well, 2 of them are harmful, but one's cancer causing and the other one is just toxic estrogen that's being broken down. So if you have high levels, do you know if that's your total estrogen, or do you know 2-OH, 4-OH, and 16-OH? And that's a really important delineation. So when we look at high estrogen, typically somebody that has high estrogen in the wrong categories, 4-OH and 16-OH. So in that scenario, fasting is really going to help, because what fasting will do is prime your liver so that it can break that estrogen down so it can move and get out of your body. Estrogen, it is so important that you mobilize estrogen. I don't care what your age, you got to get estrogen out of you. So day 1 through day 10 of ovulation, estrogen's coming in strong, of your menstrual cycle. Then day 11 to day 15, now all of a sudden you're going to be in ovulation where estrogen's high, progesterone's high. And then day 16, now we're going to be getting rid of estrogen. So you want to look out for things like breast tenderness, swollen joints, brain fog, constipation. These are all signs that estrogen's not getting out of you. So I just really want to be clear on that, because almost every hormonal problem I've seen, with the exception of too little of progesterone, can be solved with fasting, which is why women, when we fast, we have to fast differently, because we have to mind that progesterone. Okay, hope that helped. Okay, yeah, some people are asking questions that I talked about before, like, I don't want to lose so much weight. Yep. Okay. Specific questions, you guys, about your health are a little harder for me to talk about. Okay, this is a good one. Andrea RC, alternate day fasting. Do you recommend taking supplements during the fast to avoid hair loss or double up on feast day? Yeah, that sounds like Andrea. It sounds like you are, or Andrea. Not sure how to pronounce it. I've got in my own life, I've got Andreas, Andreas. It's all different. If you cannot take supplements during your fasting window, then you will need to double up on them on your feet on the days that you're eating. So it's the same thing with, same exact thing with, fasting windows of 13 hours. If you can't take your supplements in there, then you got to make sure you get them in your eating window. So that's how I would approach it. Cool. Okay. Good vibes. Yeah, thank you. Sending me good vibes. I'll take good vibes any day. Okay, fasting. Jenny wants to know fasting and autoimmune. I'm concerned my hair will fall out. Okay, I'm about to do a video on fasting, autoimmune, and supplementation. So it's gonna be specifically around vitamin D. So it's gonna be a little different take on fasting. So stay tuned. Make sure you. Did she ask that? Oh yeah, Jenny's on my YouTube. So Jenny, I'm gonna have a video out next week on this exact topic. But let me give you some general guidelines around autoimmunity and fasting. So with autoimmunity, you've got any autoimmune condition, you've got two major challenges. The first is that you've got the gut issue you've got to deal with. So you got to make sure you're addressing any kind of gut problem. And a 24-hour fast 1 day a week will help you do that. Second issue you've got to work on is toxic load. Why is your body attacking itself? And I don't think you said what autoimmune condition you have, but it's attacking the joint. If you have RA, it's attacking your thyroid. If you have Hashimoto's, each autoimmune condition is a different attack on normal healthy tissue, but there's something in that tissue that's making the body attack itself. And so why is it doing that? And this is where moving metabolic flexibility is so important, because moving in and out of different length fasts really primes your metabolic flexibility, makes your liver more efficient at making ketones, which also makes your liver more efficient at getting rid of toxins. It helps with gut health so that you get toxins out of your gut. I mean, there's a whole slew of reasons why you want to build a lifestyle around that. So lupus, yeah. So joints, cartilage. Okay, cool. High cholesterol, fasting for high cholesterol. That you got to go to my videos on opening your detox pathways. Those are really, really important to go look at. So make sure that you have your pathways open. Otherwise, your cholesterol will go up, but it's not a genetic problem. It doesn't mean that you stop fasting. It means you got to open up your pathways. Gum, you have to test gum to see if it will break a fast. So somebody asked about that. And there was another good one here. Okay. Yeah. Somebody asked about Dr. Stephen Finney's video on the metabolic effects. Here's what I would say. Send it to where are you watching this? You're watching this on YouTube. Maybe you can post the video link, so I'll go look at it. But I have not seen a 3-day water fast mess somebody up their metabolism up. I've only seen it if it was done at a wrong time of a woman's cycle. That's the only time I've seen it. So, okay, sorry to be a little disjointed today. Technical difficulties starting, but if you guys want more Q&As like this, you need more specific attention. This is what we're doing in my academy. Every Saturday morning in my academy, or most Saturday mornings, I should say, I do a workout and a coffee talk with my community. We have 2 calls a month, except for when we're doing a reset. We'll do even more than that. And we're constantly educating you, pouring into you, and answering your questions there. So if for some reason you didn't get it here, come join me in my academy. But as always, you guys are awesome. I love your questions. And we will, I think of this conversation as just sort of like an ongoing, continual conversation that we all are having together. So keep asking the questions, and I'll keep coming and turning those into videos and bringing you guys the solutions. So hope you have a beautiful day.